January 6, 2021, Building Code Board of Appeals, regular meeting. First one we'll do is roll call. Kathy, could you roll call, please?
Mr. Abathera?
Here.
Ms. Brooks?
Here.
Mr. DeZerman?
Here.
Mr. Friesen?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here. All right, the next one we're going to go to is to see if we can include the officers' nominations in miscellaneous business at the end of the meeting today. I need a motion and someone second it. We have to nominate officers today. We can do it at the end of the meeting.
What's the motion you're looking for to add that to the agenda?
To make it in our miscellaneous business.
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Kathy?
Okay, Mr. Friesen?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Abathera?
Yes.
Ms. Brooks?
Yes.
Mr. DeZerman?
Yes.
Okay, next one will be the approval of the minutes of the December 2nd, 2020 meeting. Want to approve it?
I motion to approve the minutes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
This is Kathy, Mr. Chair. I think you better go for the electronic meeting resolution before you conduct business.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I skipped that one. All right, first we got to do the proposed resolution to conduct electronic meeting. I have to read off this paper. Resolved that the Troy Building Code Board of Appeals hereby allows all members to participate in public meetings by electronic means as allowed by Public Act 254 of 2020, since an in-person meeting could detrimentally increase exposure of board members and the general public to COVID-19, and would also be difficult to facilitate in light of the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services epidemic orders protecting public health and safety. Members participating electronically will be considered present and in attendance at the meeting and may participate in the meeting as if physically present. However, members must avoid using email, texting, instant messaging, and other such electronic forms of communication to make a decision or deliberate towards a decision. Resolved that the Troy Building Code Board of Appeals hereby establishes public participation rules for any eligible virtual meetings to provide for two methods by which members of the public can be heard by others during meetings. Email sent to bcba public comments at troymich.gov and received by 9 a.m. on the day of the meeting will be read during the public comment period of the meeting. Voicemail left at 248-524-3546 and received by 9 a.m. on the day of the meeting will be played during the public comment period of the meeting. Both email and voicemail public comments will be limited to 3 minutes each. The previous board resolutions will need to be amended to the reference Public Act 254 of 2020, which allows virtual meetings to continue until March 31st, 2021. We're all set there. Now we'll go to the approval of minutes.
Well, I think I'll second that.
You want to say it out loud?
Okay, Mark. I'm sorry. Yes, I need to get a motion on that.
Okay. So it was moved by Mr. Abathera and support by Mr. Miller, and I will call roll call.
Yes.
Ms. Brooks?
You're on mute, Teresa.
Yes.
Mr. DeZerman?
Yes.
Mr. Friesen?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Abathera?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Now we'll move to, we did not do the approval of minutes, right? So I'm going to do the approval of the minutes of the December 2nd, 2020 meeting. Anybody want to approve them?
I'll approve the minutes. Yeah.
I'll second.
Go ahead.
Kathy?
Mr. DeZerman?
Yes.
Mr. Friesen?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Abathera?
Yes.
Ms. Brooks?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, we're going to move to our first case is a variance request by Eric Gorman of 5350 Westmoreland. Celine, would you tell us a little bit about that real quick?
Yes, I need IT to make me a presenter so I can show the screen.
Yes. I need to?
Picture. There you go. You're making
No, IT is doing it.
Okay.
Okay. So I will read the first various request. It's by Eric Gorman, 5350 Westmoreland. The applicant seeks to construct a 130-foot long, 72-inch high obscuring fence within the 30 feet required front yard setback when the maximum height limit is 48 inches.
Okay. Celine, this was brought back from last month, correct?
Yes, give me 1 second, please. Yes, Westmoreland. So what happens is that we had it last meeting, and so they were requesting to be only 1 foot away from the property line, and it was suggested that they would rethink that so that we can make a resolution. And so they get back to us, which I'm going to show their new request, which is right here. It says they are suggesting now to be 6 feet setback from the property line, and they are showing us some pictures here on their request. This is the distance, and they're also showing us how this request does not really affect the visibility of the street. They show us this other picture here. And so they prepared this. There's another picture showing how it doesn't really affect as much. So we just have to work on this new request.
Are the petitioners present?
Yes, we are. Good afternoon. Happy New Year, everyone.
So you guys have some other thoughts from the last meeting then? Would you like to tell us what your thoughts and why?
Yes, sure. We took to heart the board's discussion and all of the input from the last meeting. And I think one of the real takeaways was that the board is wanting to make sure that the neighborhoods are not these walled off areas, as I think it was put. And by having such a narrow setback of only 1 foot, that it would kind of go against the board's desire to keep our neighborhoods open. So we took that to heart. We went back to our property line and we really reevaluated where we could put a fence. And as I think you can see from this photo that's currently on the screen, there are a couple of large trees that are between the sidewalk and where the fence line would go. And so what we're proposing now is a 6 foot setback for a 6 foot obscuring fence that would go right behind the tree line. Now in the current photo that's on the screen, you can see that we currently have a white picket fence that is at this part of our property is just about at the 6 foot setback. And so you can see how it runs directly behind that tree. And in some of the other photos, you can see that this current white picket fence does not follow that 6 foot line exactly. So essentially what we're requesting is to maintain see right there, you can see how the picket fence starts to vary away from the 6 foot. The tape measure shows where we're proposing a 6 foot setback would be. And so we're really just looking to kind of even out and straighten out our current fence line. But instead of having a picket fence, we are proposing a white vinyl PVC 6 foot fence right along that 6 foot setback line. That would keep the trees on the outside of the fence line, giving the neighborhood hopefully that kind of bright park-like feel, while also giving a clean field by cleaning up this area that you see as all dirt. Well, that will be grassed, perhaps with some other landscaping, some bushes in there, and just in general, a nicer view for that area of our property. And so that was the before photo that you see of how the property was when we purchased it. We've taken all of that overgrown brush out, and now we're trying to kind of continue to clean it up. And so we are, trying to find a resolution that we hope is agreeable to all the parties.
All right, thank you. Then the board have any questions for the petitioner first? We do all remember everything in this one, right?
Is there this is Matt, I'm sorry, is there do you have a sample or do you know what type of fence you're proposing to put up other than what's described in the description here as a 6-foot obscuring?
We have contacted a fencing company, and we're proposing a white vinyl PVC fence.
Thank you.
I have one quick question here. Matt, do you have a camera or is it just me that can't see you?
Is it not on?
I can't see you.
Okay. Sorry about that. Let me work on that.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Sorry about that.
All right. The fence will be 6 feet back from the property line
Correct.
in that distance. Okay. Anybody else have any more questions among us?
I just had a quick comment. I apologize. I had a guest join me real quick. As far as the revised proposal is concerned, I do appreciate what you've done. I think, getting it off the sidewalk is good. And I don't have a concern about the curvature and around the corner and that kind of thing. So I think all those are good. I would still, I still sort of object to this very tall obscuring fence, which is what is still nominally in a front yard. So 6 feet is still very tall. And, but you have created some buffer off the sidewalk, which I think is commendable. And I think, the visibilities around the corner and things like that are not of concern anymore. But just my statement of opinion is 6 foot fence, which I know you guys don't necessarily view this as a front yard, but at the end of the day, it is, street facing front yard condition with a very tall wall. So that's just my commentary.
Okay. Jackie, I have a question. We've already read in the public comments, right?
Yes, we did not receive any new public comments for this item for this meeting.
Okay, and what do we have for the old ones? Were they for, against, or was there nothing? Do you remember?
I don't. I believe, let me do some research. I believe they usually are put in the packet if we have old ones, so let me take a look. Hold on.
This is Matt again.
Yes, Matt.
So just back to the homeowners again, another question for you about the construction of this fence. Did you just state something of the nature that you have not contacted a fence company or somebody to help you advise you on this particular installation? Is that correct? Is this just something you've kind of put together on yourself?
No, we have contacted a fence company. It is Action Fence.
Okay.
And they actually were the ones that alerted us to the potential need for a variance. And so I think in our initial proposal, or maybe it's in our permit request, that we had put in their sketch of the outline of where the fence would go.
For Action Fence, we have a price quote in our original proposal from December. It's a budget-friendly white obscuring fence. I think just a standard white fence, nothing too outrageous or out of control.
Okay. I think that the reason I asked that question is going back to what Mr. Freeze was saying too as well, the 6 foot does create a hardship for this board, I think, in the sense of why the rules are there. It's hard to explain this, but it really creates a precedence, I think, and sometimes on lots in the front, having a fence in the front of the residence, right? And it creates more or less not something that's very, I guess, open to most homeowners on that side. But the biggest thing, and I'm looking at what you're reproposed here, is just to ensure that somebody has looked at this, because in past meetings, we've had people come back and say, well, we now wanted it set 6 foot back. Well, now guess what? There's trees in the way, there's roots in the way, there's rocks in the way. We can't get it in there. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys have done the due diligence of ensuring that this is something that a fence company could do, or that can be done with what is there currently. But I guess in my opinion, still, I'm a little hesitant on the 6 foot still. I mean, if we matched what was behind you, even though that I think the board or the city has said the property behind you didn't have a permit, or there was not one found on that property, something of that nature would be a little bit easier for us to see as something that you could do to enclose your property there. But yeah, I'm a little hesitant on the 6 foot. But I'll listen to the other board members.
Yeah,
I mean, go ahead.
there was
Krista,
one.
did you have?
There was one letter of opposition, the first public hearing on this applicant.
Teresa, do you have something you want to add there? No? Salim, I have a question for you. Since this is considered a back-to-back, that's why they could put a 4 foot high fence in there?
Correct. It has to be a 4 foot fence, yes.
Right. It have to be could it be non-obscured, or could it be obscured?
With transparency.
With transparency, okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
If I may, I would just like to reiterate that while the board sees this as a front yard, but in reality, the way that our property is situated, this is where our backyard is. This is where our children play. We have a pool back there. This is a situation that is a little bit unique given the layout of our property line. And I think that it would be a defensible position if it ever came to a precedent where someone would try to point to it as precedent, as to look for something else. This is a curved lot that really does not have any other space. This is where we would really need, and that we're really requesting privacy for our children and our family to play and to have our space. I mean, as you can see from the current photo on the screen, I mean, there is a pool, and to have a fence that is only 48 inches really allows no privacy for anyone, for our family to, have our children out there. And so while it keeps being said that this is a front yard, I mean, in looking at the way that it's laid out, it really functions as a backyard. I mean, when the way that we have that the street is even laid out, there's a court that kind of dead ends as to where our house is. We have headlights that come into our house from cars that are driving, around the curve around our house, or from the court. I mean, it really is, a bit of a nuisance, quite frankly. And so that's why we are very strongly requesting a 6 foot privacy fence to kind of alleviate some of these concerns, and why we really strongly reevaluated our variance request to set it back an amount that we are really hoping is going to be satisfactory to the board to kind of maintain this park-like atmosphere while also satisfying our privacy concerns.
Okay. Matt, you do realize that this one is a back-to-back situation?
Yeah.
It's not a traditional corner, because it doesn't have a house on the side to it. And it is a sloping curved road right there. I mean, I can see, if you can go back to the last picture, Salim.
Yeah, sure, 1 second.
I mean, their front yard to their side is just one big curve.
Yeah.
I can definitely see some of their reasons why they'd like a 6-foot fence.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm okay with a 4-foot obscuring fence to match the property that abuts on the backside over there, but I think a 6-foot kind of sets a precedence for this board, so that's my opinion.
Yeah. Yes, Teresa.
I have a comment and a question for Salim. Comment is the pictures prior to their purchase with the trees or the brush there kind of shows us how something could be obstructed by excessive brush, and they've removed that, so we're seeing a very clean site at this point. My question for Salim is the pool permitted if this is considered a front yard? Was the pool permitted, or was it given some kind of variance?
I did not see that it wasn't. I would need to look more into that. I don't have an answer for you right now. I can look for it right now, but
Well, I don't think it's considered a front yard, is it? That is the side yard at some point.
This side.
it is side
I
yard.
would
Yes.
imagine from the front of the house back is considered the side, and from the front of the house forward, I guess would be the front yard. I mean, I do see that people do have a hardship there. I mean, you do have a cul-de-sac
So there's no-
in your backyard.
Mhm, mhm.
Yes, Salim?
On BSNA, there is no permit for the pool, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have one. I have to look in records that are older than that on base. But yeah, you are allowed to have pools on side yards in backyards, and that's part of the ordinance. But at the moment, there's no record of it.
As I was saying, you know, I do feel they have a hardship for headlights coming into the backyard from the cul-de-sac there. You know, should they have come in before they tore all the brush down to show how they're doing it? Possibly, because we're looking at it now as it's you know, looks fine, but what it looked like before did not look healthy. I don't see any problem with the 6-foot fence, and I don't think our precedent is there because it is a back-to-back relationship. We don't have very many of those. And they do have a cul-de-sac of headlights coming straight into their side yard / backyard.
And into the house, I'd like to add.
House, okay. Anybody else have any thoughts or comments? Matt, does that kind of help a little bit of your thinking? I do understand the precedent thing.
Yeah,
We don't want to just grant every fence that we see there, and then something comes back and says you did it there.
Right. And I completely understand from a homeowner's aspect. I do. I really do. And that's why I said that I think even a 4-foot obscuring would help cut down on, you know, headlights and things like that coming out of the cul-de-sac. It's not like the headlights sit above 6 foot. So, I mean, understandably, it is a corner lot. They did tear down the brush that obviously gave them some sort of privacy in there in the past. It does look a lot cleaner. I agree with you on that. I'm not sure. I guess I'm on the fence. But the factor is they have a fence that's around the pool that's 5 foot, and you know, making it and having a yard to use would be to, in my opinion, would be to just go from the back corner of the house back to the fence that's in the back with a 5 or 6 foot fence there, which would give them a whole open yard without any of this request. But they're asking for this and they want to enclose it, and I get it. So I think from this board standpoint, and from my standpoint on this board, I'm okay with a 4 foot. I'm good there. 6 foot's a little hard for me, but I see where you're coming from. And I know that this lot is sort of a very different than most that we see when the curvatures and stuff like that. So I'm looking at that.
Gary, I'd like to add something more
That's fine.
to the question about the pool. The pool is inside the setback, so even if it was without permit, if it's older than 2 years, it's practically grandfathered. and it is on the setback. So beyond the setback, so it shouldn't have any problems.
Okay. All right. Mark, were you saying something?
It was Sandy. I just was going to echo Matt's comments. In general, I do think you guys are doing the right thing. I think what you did with the trees is the right thing. I think the setback is the right idea. You're definitely bettering the property, and I appreciate all that. And I do agree that you have an odd lot condition. I don't particularly foresee the cul-de-sac having an amazing amount of traffic, that it's a huge problem. I think the 4 foot that's currently adjacent and you know, within the realm of the fencing, I know it probably still wouldn't be within the setback properly, but at least it's in the intent of the code of the 4 foot. I think, just for transparency before we go on, I just want to state that I do think I will have a problem with the 6 foot, and that's all I can kind of say.
Okay. Salim, the neighbor's fence in the back, how tall is that their fence will hook up to?
That's 4 feet. 4 feet.
Yeah, 4 feet? Okay.
Yeah. And there's an enforcement already for it, by the way.
Right, but it's a 4 foot high obscured fence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right to the lot line. Either Matt or Sandy, would you have a problem, since they're, 6 feet from the property line, of going to a 5 foot fence, kind of meeting them in the middle, if they were, if they were susceptible to that? Or you guys, do you just 4 foot and that's the max, just so I can get an idea?
I'd probably stay for the 4 foot myself. I mean, you're already going to have an awkward transition when you go, step back 6 feet and then down to a different fence. And, it's just, I feel like it's going to feel awkward anyway, but honestly, I think that, I would stick with the 4 foot, but.
Okay.
Can I ask a question to Salim on this? Is there a fence requirement if you do have a pool? Am I reading that right? Around, if it's in the setback?
Yes, they do have a fence already. It's
right.
a 4 foot fence.
What's the requirement for a fence or a 4 foot around a pool area? Correct? Just to reiterate that. I know that that's in the code. I just wanted to double check. Okay.
And what they have is within compliance.
Right. Okay. See, I'm kind of with Sandy. I mean, from the homeowner standpoint, what do you, I guess, in the sense of what, if we were to propose that you could do your 6 foot setback at a 4 foot height with an obscuring fence, like you're proposing either white PVC or something, is there an issue with that? Is there something that you need that extra 2 feet for that is going to create some more privacy for you on that side? Or what is it that you're looking for from the 6 foot? Because it sounds like we were able to kind of agree maybe on a 4 foot, but I'm just curious from a homeowner standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the difference with those 2 feet is that it does create the actual sense of privacy. As we've all noted, our neighbors behind us have a 4 foot fence. It is a 1 foot setback from the sidewalk, and we take our neighborhood walks, and I mean, we see everything. They're playing in the backyard, the kids are playing, and that's fine, for them. But I think particularly given the fact that we have a pool, is a reason that we really want that privacy and for our kids to be able to play in the pool, or quite frankly also to maybe deter people from, I don't know, hopping a 4 foot fence. I mean, we have some concerns about that. I think that a 6 foot fence would really just secure the property line and provide privacy for our family and for our friends, with being able to come over and to not have prying eyes from anyone who walks by. I think our biggest concern is due to the pool. I mean, I think that's a difference from our neighbors behind us. They don't have a pool, as we see when we walk by, and I think that makes a difference as to a big concern of ours.
Okay.
So you're proposing that you're actually going to remove the other fence then that's around the pool? Is that what your intent is then? If
No.
this is approved? So you may keep that plus add the 6 foot at the 6 foot setback, correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's that's not on the table at all to remove that fence around the pool. We're trying to just one thing at a time.
No, I understand. It was just a question. I was just curious.
No, that's not what we haven't discussed that.
Matt, for the fence around the pool is for safety. And if you take the fence out, then you have to put alarms on all your doors of your house. So I know like our pool, we have a separate 4-foot fence right around our pool that locks, and you don't have the sensors in your house in case someone walks out of the door wall that you don't have to worry about them falling in the pool. So they will probably leave their fence up. I know I would for safety issues for sure.
But to the point
So
that
you can-
that inner fence provides privacy around the pool. So
If they were to remove that fence around the pool, I will suggest they get in touch with me. I'll give them all the detail that the code has for the alarm systems and what's required for it.
I don't think they were planning on getting rid of the fence around the pool.
We're not really.
Okay.
Yeah. But thank you for the text.
Anybody else have any more comments? Teresa, Mark? Teresa?
4-foot high fence is for public pools, would be state code. So at 4 feet, if it were a public pool, again, I understand their concerns, but a 4-foot high fence is a minimum for public. This is a private. What someone sees as privacy, the neighborhood may feel is intrusive. And so that is why we're having the dilemma we're having is we have homeowners that want privacy, but we also have to be concerned about everyone that will have to see this.
And I understand that, and I think that's why we wanted to be so sure to, revise our request to have a significant setback so that we are not having this intrusive, fence line. That's why we want to make sure there was enough greenery on either sides of the sidewalk, so that we can, and keeping our trees on the outside to try and add to the neighborhood in that sense. We're really not trying to detract from it. We're really, trying to do our best to improve the neighborhood, to improve our lot, to make it a nice, clean, situation.
This is Matt again. So if Slim, if you could scroll back to where the fence is proposed, it's proposed off the corner of the corner of the house, correct? I don't know. You were showing the overview of the line where the proposed fence. Yeah.
So 6 feet.
So
the original.
If you scroll down. So what's the distance between the driveway and that corner of the fence where the proposed fence line is? Do we know that? Yeah. So I guess that one part of the issue that even Teresa just kind of sort of mentions, but it's, safety is also a concern of this board. So people pulling out or backing out of this driveway and having a 6-foot obscuring fence with a sidewalk there. And, we try to put distance in there too, so that there gives a lot of leeway for people to be able to see somebody down, little kids, whoever it might be coming down the side, bicyclers, things like that, or cars coming from the street line. Because when you're backing out of the driveway, and although you do have a circular driveway, it can be hard to see past those points before your car is already either at the street level or at that sidewalk level. And that's, I think, part of the safety issues that come into concern and why we have these codes in place. So that's the reason why we kind of look at this as a possibility of it being a problem, or at least from my side. So, so that you got to look at the safety, not just at the aesthetics of it too.
I mean, and we did, I think we touched on that in our last discussion. And so in our revised request, we tried to show that the curvature of the street and having an obscuring fence really, I'm not sure that it would actually affect visibility. Salim, I'm not sure if you can find these photos where we took one photo of the street, without any obscuring, and then we blocked it, and you can still see the exact same items in the distance, and the fence really does not provide a blockage to that.
I think is what he's talking about is the people walking down the sidewalk and you coming out of your driveway, not the road. The picture with your tape measure is on the road. We're more concerned about the kids riding their bike down the sidewalk and someone comes out of your circle drive, that there's enough room for them to be seen. Is that what you're talking, Matt?
That's correct. That's why I was asking the setback from the driveway. What was that distance there? But again, it still creates
I
that
don't measure right now.
momentary.
Do you want us to measure, at this exact moment? I mean,
We're both at home. I can go measure if you want.
I can also get that dimension right now. I'm trying to get it from GIS.
Okay.
So if you can, I will put the drawing on top, and then you can explain to me exactly what dimension you want. So I'm thinking you want the dimension from here, right? So the 6 feet, see, there's two lines in GIS, so it's difficult to pinpoint it with precision. But let me see what's right. It's 8 feet. They're asking for 6 feet. It's somewhere around here. And now from this point on, you're talking to the driveway, right? The driveway would be 21 feet, 22 feet.
Okay, thank you.
22 feet for the visual.
Thank you, Slim. Matt, at a 4-foot fence, would you be fine with 22 feet or would you like it back to be 25?
I'm okay. I'm okay at the distance they have proposed at 4 foot.
For the petitioners, I can see right now I've got 2 board members that are adamant at a 4-foot high fence. Is it something that you would want to try to set your height at 4 feet, or do you want to go straight at the 6 feet?
well, I mean, not to complicate the discussion, but I mean, if we're going to be adamant about 4 feet, then part of us wants to, would propose continuing the setback of our neighbors at 1 foot off the property line. I mean, we're trying to work with the board to keep this, greenery on the outside, and that's why we were trying to propose such a significant setback. But if the board is really going to be, hard set on a 4-foot fence, then we would propose continuing, that current setback of 1 foot.
Okay. Sandy?
So the comment I'd say to that is I believe we determined that was not permitted, approved as is now. And that really speaks to the precedent we're trying to avoid, right? So if we say, you want a 6-foot fence, and then someone else comes back and says they have a 6-foot fence, right? You're saying we want to do what's there, and I think we figured out, and Celine, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think we figured out from the last conversation that that's actually in violation right now.
Correct.
Right.
Yes. Which we haven't.
We had also had discussion that it might, look a little awkward to have these various setbacks and ups and downs. So, we're trying to weigh some of that also.
All right, so 4 foot high, 6 foot back would be not egregious as far as, stepping that you're talking about. But I can't go with, well, they did it, so we should be able to do it too if they didn't do it the proper channels. And I know that, it's kind of biting you for doing it the right way, but, that's not the way it should be done.
Sandy, just, they could do a 48-inch non-obscured fence right now for code.
Right.
So we'd just be changing from obscure to obscured. Okay.
Yep.
Matt, do you have any thoughts on your 4-foot high fence?
No, I think I've given everything on that. But I agree with Sandy. I think you can't really set a precedence on what the neighbor did, because I think, Salim, if I'm correct, you could go basically tag their house and we could make them move that if we wanted to, or tell them to take it down if we needed to, correct?
Yeah, well, in regards to the neighbor, what happens is they're going to have to come to the building code of appeals as well. So, but that's a different enforcement.
Whole different issue. Right.
Teresa?
No, the lot again has unique circumstances above and beyond our normal unique. But I think that's where our reservations come is we don't want to go to the extreme, the 6 foot, the 1 foot, because it is so unique. We want to keep it, I think, a bit more reserved because of its uniqueness.
And respectfully, with that said, you're not setting a precedent because we have such a unique property. There's no precedent being set. It's unique property, it's a unique solution.
Okay. So I guess I'm going to have to ask you, we can't vote on anything if we don't know, other than a 6-foot fence 6 feet away. Would you want us to look at a 4-foot high fence or no?
Is the vote majority or all yes, all no?
We don't know. I don't know what the other two members and myself.
He's asking what it's a majority passes. He's asking what does he need to pass?
Yeah, it takes three to pass.
Okay.
Can I put us on mute for one moment so that we can just have a quick.
How many board members are there on the call?
5.
5. So we need 3 of the 5.
Mr. Chair, I don't think we can go silent in a public meeting.
We can or we can't?
Well,
I don't think we can.
we certainly can't, but I guess that if someone's making a presentation, they can consult. As long as it's not part of our deliberation, I guess it's okay. It's part of their deliberation. Does that make sense?
So I can give them a minute silent, you think?
Yeah, I think that would be okay. It'd be like as if they tucked away during a meeting with their attorney or something. I just have a quick comment, really quick. The facts are you need 3 votes to get the variance. I don't know if you have 3 votes or not. You may not. And the other thing is I want everyone to also understand that our ordinance is presumed to be valid to begin with. Now, the law recognizes that there are unique situations, and this is obviously a unique lot. And it's this board's responsibility to provide a relief from the ordinance for these unique situations. And so there's obviously discretion among all of us to get to that end. So I don't know if that helps or makes things more confusing, but good luck in your discussions.
One question. If a variance is granted, does that mean that we are bound to it, or can we obtain the variance and then ultimately decide not to pursue a fence at all, let's say, or something like that?
Salim or Mark, do you know the answer to that one?
I can answer that question. Yeah, the variance, for what I understand, it's only for you to use. So if people have a variance and they use it like years later. So what I understand is just a right that you obtain. You don't need to act on it, for what I understand. Immediately.
Okay.
And also, Chair, if you don't mind, Andy, you could do like less. So if you were going to do 30 feet, but you did 31 feet, that still would be okay because you did less. Or if approval at 6 feet and you built a 4-foot one, that was okay because it's less.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Before you go there, I just want to put out one more thing to my board members is I would not have a problem with them going back 15 feet from the property line and putting a 6-foot fence up. Does anybody else think that would be being that they have a unique lot, very curved, backyard keeps getting smaller, if they're very sure they want a 6-foot fence, I know I would have no problem going back 15 feet from the lot line. Just putting it out there for anybody who wants to make a comment.
I haven't talked a lot because I'm sort of torn. There's a part of me that always wants to give variances, but then I'm afraid of what 6 feet will look like. I mean, I guess I'm a little more inclined than some people to go with 6 feet on either situation. But I wouldn't like, but I'm afraid of what will happen when it's built. That is it a mistake? And I'm just being honest, Okay. I want you to have what you want, but I'm afraid if we do it, we do a mistake. I'm concerned about that. But well, the point I'm trying to make is that I'm more willing to consider the 6 feet than maybe some of the other members.
Okay. Sandy, does anything, I don't even know if the petitioners want 15 feet back. I'm just putting a second option out there for them. If they really want that, their lot does curve a lot in the back. I mean, they do have a unique lot with being curved. It is a back-to-back, and they do have headlights coming in. So, I mean, it's not like we're setting every corner lot's gonna have a 6-foot fence, 6 feet off.
Yeah. I mean, all the solutions are, incrementally better. I don't know if any of them I love, but I understand what you're saying, and it doesn't sound like it's probably on the table anyway. So,
Matt?
I hear your compromise, and I can see the 15 foot with a 6 foot could be at least tolerable, I think, and something I could consider. I think it's still at 6 foot setback. I'm still at 4 foot, really, is where my feelings are on that.
Okay. Teresa, do you have any thoughts on that?
I like the 4 foot and I like the 6 foot setback farther. So I'm right down the middle.
Okay.
What about a 4-foot fence 2 feet back from the sidewalk?
Say that again?
What about a 4-foot tall fence, but it's 2 feet off the sidewalk?
I don't think I'm going to go back and ask everybody to keep going back and forth. I think we have the two options you two can think about for a minute and let us know what you'd like to do.
Okay. One moment, please. Thank you.
Okay. Everybody have a good New Year while we're waiting?
Yeah.
yeah, of course.
Mark, how's the hockey team doing?
Well, I should send you right before the holiday.
I think that, after chatting for a minute, it seems that, based on an assessment of kind of taking everyone's temperature, so to speak, as to where people might stand, we would propose that the board consider a request for a 4-foot obscuring fence with a 6-foot setback. Am I saying that right?
Yes. Okay, thank you. Would we like to put a motion together?
Mr. Chair, just really quick, that's an obscuring fence, right? To make sure. Yeah.
She said obscuring.
Okay.
Correct.
Thanks, Mr.
Yes.
I can propose that, I guess. This is Matt. So I request, or I say we consider granting the following, a 4-foot obscuring fence with a 6-foot setback from the property line at the sidewalk. This variance would not be contrary to the public interest or general purpose and intent of Chapter 83, and the petitioner has a hardship or practical difficulty resulting from the unusual characteristics of the property that precludes reasonable use of the property.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Kathy, take the vote, please.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Abathera,
Yes.
Ms. Brooks,
Yes.
Mr. Deserman,
Yes.
Mr. Friesen,
Yes.
motion carries.
You're all set with your fence. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Our next variance request will be from Gregory Zagorski from 982 Brooklawn. Salim, want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yes. Yes, give me 1 second, please.
Hey, Mark, does your son play for Minnesota? Is that what it is? Or Michigan?
Michigan State.
Michigan State. Oh,
Okay, Gary. I'm going to read the long version for this one because it has
Okay.
more information than
Okay.
the other one, and I think it's important. Okay.
Okay.
So this property is this variance request Gregory Zagorski, 982 Brooklawn. I'm going to read the short version first. The applicant seeks to construct a 63 feet long, 72-inch high obscuring fence within the required front yard setback of 25 feet when the maximum height is limited to 30 inches. Now I'll give more detail on the long version, okay? So this property is a double front corner lot since it is in the R1E use district. As such, it has a 25 feet required front setback along both Brentwood and Brooklawn, requesting a variance to install a 6 feet high, 144 feet obscuring vinyl fence setback 3 feet from the property line along the Brentwood Drive side, where the city code limits to 30 inches high fences due to the fact that there isn't a back-to-back relationship to the rear neighboring lot. Now, this is important. This is a non-conforming structure lot to the so the fence shall not increase the nonconformity to Chapter 39, Article 14 of the City of Troy zoning ordinance. The total length of the fence requested by the petitioner to be permitted by the building department is 144 feet, which 81 feet of the fence does not require a variance. And if you need more explanation on this, I can do that, but I will let you talk first.
Okay.
Go ahead, Gary.
All right. Petitioners present?
Yes.
Yes. Can you tell us why you need the variance request?
Generally speaking, we want to be able to build a privacy fence. First of all, the current fence is a chain link, completely see-through fence, which we would like to have a certain degree of privacy. This lot does serve as our yard. It would also be helpful as we do have a dog, and we like the dog to run out there. And with a bigger fence, the dog won't see the people who walk by, possibly bark at them, or if people don't like dogs when they walk by. We'll be replacing a fence as is. We think 25 feet setback there, having to go back that far would be, quite frankly, we would just cut out the whole yard. We would not be changing a new fence. I will say, obviously this doesn't count as official comments. Before we even did this, we just moved into the property in November when we moved to Troy. We did send notes to both the immediate neighbors who would be affected by this, those who are next to us in Brooklawn and those who are behind us on Redwood, and they both came as part of welcoming and did inform us that they would be okay with the changes. And so we just feel as if, we understand maybe wanting to set back larger fences. We don't feel, if you take a look at the pictures, that these are going to actually block any pedestrian or views. Our driveway will extend farther out than where the fence is. It's not going to stop me and my wife from seeing pedestrians or whatever when we drive out. We don't think it'll impact Motorist Road, and obviously we want to be good neighbors.
We're new here. We don't want to cause a stir or like hurt the neighborhood, but we do feel that this is a reasonable request, and we're happy to talk about it as we kind of understand more about what the exact objections are and how this hurts Troy's building code.
Okay. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for the petitioner real quick? Salim, I have a question for you.
Sure.
No, well, Dan, for the board, I was just looking at this whole thing and trying to figure how that's the garage is 3 feet from the lot line.
That's not the garage.
Yeah,
That's the edge of the house. The garage is actually the nubs coming out in the where they're
Okay.
25.
So that's the actual house.
Yeah.
That's the actual house there,
So-
3 feet from the lot line.
Yeah. So
And
what I wanted
that's
to
why-
speak to you,
We don't want the house. We don't want the fence in front of there.
No, I understand. All right, so I was trying to figure how they could build a house 3 feet from the lot line, because it doesn't happen. So then I was looking at that you have there, Salim, is their lot number 17, and how I think that lot says 57 feet wide. I can't zoom in on it.
let me increase that. I can zoom in. So 57. Yep.
Yes. And in lot 16, they made a road out of it at some point.
Correct.
By putting the road in, they put the house to be non-conforming. And-
Sure. It's surprising. I'm actually very familiar with this. This is one of the rare examples where the city somehow took a lot and converted it into right of way.
Okay.
That's another piece of property. And so, and I guess then that these are non-conforming lots, non-conforming structures. I mean, they've been there for so long, they'd be considered non-conforming. They're allowed to continue until they're destroyed by, off the top of my head, 50%.
So lot 17 and lot 15 would be non-conforming. Because they're on both sides of the road.
Mm-hmm.
And because 16 became the road.
Yep.
And even if they tore the house down, say the house caught on fire, tore down, you could never rebuild on that lot because there's not enough room to do it. Take the 57 feet and you got to be 25 off the lot line.
Right.
And 5 off the other side. You'd have a very thin lot. It's just odd that so you say the city put the right of way in there?
Well, we got title to the property, but the road's not there, we're correct? I don't think the road is actually there.
There's no road there. No.
Yeah, it's to access, it's to access that white area is that to the west, to the left?
So there's not a road?
Go back.
Hold on one second.
That action predates my employment with the city, but I surprisingly, I have driven by this and had a case near here, and I knew about this.
That 16 is a road. That's whatever that road
I'm
is.
going to put up a GIS picture.
Yeah, that's Renwood. That's where he wants to put the fence.
Yeah.
The redwood is there.
The lot can be dedicated as right away, but it might not be. Sometimes
So this is the
are
road.
going to be right away are also put in city ownership.
Okay.
So
I guess my point is,
GIS.
cars can drive down the side of his house.
No.
Correct.
Oh, about Redwood. Yeah. Sorry.
Not if it's
This is the road.
not Redwood. If it's not an approved road, they can't drive down it.
That's where I drove down to go see the house.
Yeah. Redwood is a public road.
Yeah, it is.
I'm kind of, I thought it was a regular road.
It is. Well,
Redwood. I mean, there's
it definitely is.
Well, it was originally platted, but it's been converted to right of way at some point in time. And I think I was involved in the development approval of something behind there. I knew about it.
So what you're saying, Mark, is that little section of where the lot was is a
No,
right of way.
Technically, the lot still exists, but it's been converted to right of way for the road.
So just that section, because the rest of it that connects those other addresses behind it is actually considered a road. public road.
So Mark, to that,
It's even the lot that's been converted, it is public road. It's been dedicated for a road.
Okay.
It was originally in a platted subdivision.
Okay.
So Gary, this is the lot that now is a street. This is Wentwood right here.
but if, and maybe I'm overcomplicating this, but if lot 16 is still a lot, is this not a corner lot then?
Oh, yeah, we're a corner lot.
Oh, but I mean legally. I know you are in real life, obviously.
Yeah, I understand where you're getting. I'm sorry.
No, it's right of way. It's public right of way. So it is a corner lot.
Okay.
It's just that it was originally platted at one time.
Yeah.
That lot technically does not exist in our GIS records. Lot 16 doesn't exist. It only exists on this plat because we're looking at, I don't even know when this was created, but I can kind of tell by the way it's written, it's probably from the 50s. I'm not 100% sure.
50, I believe it's 55. The house was,
Yeah.
So let me just finish what I was talking is that lot, when it was the house built, it was not a corner lot. It was a middle of the subdivision house in a subdivision that was middle. Then they took the lot 16 and put a road in there and therefore turned them into a corner lot. All the corner lots that I've seen, we always make them 25 feet bigger so that you have that ability to have a fence and still have your yard setback. If you look up a little bit higher, you can see where the road was in that plat. Salim, go up and to your right a little bit. Keep going.
a little higher.
Yeah, right up there is lots 87 is a corner lot. And, that is a much wider lot to accommodate for the road right away.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
No.
see, lot 87 is 75 feet wide. It was 25 feet wider. So his hardship is he's losing 25 feet of his backyard for a fence when he was never platted to be a corner lot. We're making him go by corner lot rules because the road went in. That's my look at it.
All right, so that's understanding the condition, right? That makes sense.
Yes.
Chair, but
Go ahead,
the
Mark.
fact is, it still is non-conforming.
Yes.
It's still non-conforming. But Gary, you have to assume that house went in before the road went in. I don't know that to be a fact, but I think it's a safe assumption. I mean, those
The
homes.
house went in 1955.
And that,
For what I have on BSNA, it's 1955.
right, and that subdivision is probably full of nonconformities because it was developed under Troy Township before it didn't become a city until 55, and really it wasn't until the early 60s before a more modern zoning ordinance was adopted. I don't think they standardized the more typical lot widths until the mid to late 60s.
Yes, Sandy.
I have a separate question, but also for Salim, just on a background story. When we're talking obscuring, non-obscuring, does this fence considered obscuring or non-obscuring? The existing one?
The existing one, you need for normally it's 50% for non-obscuring. That's standard. So this one would be considered obscuring.
Okay. So he has it obscuring, is that 4 feet now?
Correct.
And he has an existing obscuring 4-foot fence, and he's asking for an obscuring 6-foot fence in 3 feet back or something, right? Just basically back to the house line or something?
Setback 3 feet, yes, 3 feet from the property line.
Which I assume is possibly in line with the back of the house or the side of the house then.
It's 5 feet. The house is 5 feet away from the property line, so it's 2 feet before.
All right. Thank you.
Jackie, do we have any objections or letters?
Well, we have public comment.
That's what I'm going to say. Do we have any public comment?
Yes. So if you can hear me clearly, I'm going to read 3 emails and play 1 voicemail.
Okay.
Okay. The first email is from James Lowe. he stated that we have no objections to the variance requested. Signed, Jim and Kirsty Lowe of 931 Brooklawn Drive, Troy, Michigan 48084. Second email is from Deborah Christie. Let's see. Hold on, I'm going to hold off on that one because she sent us two. One was longer. Okay. After speaking with Salim today, being 1/5/2021, from the building department, he suggested I get in touch with the attorney who represents Troy residents regarding what the technical component of this fence would entail. 1, why take down my fence and change the structure of the gate and supporting fence behind me? Number 2, how would a 6-foot plastic fence connect to a 3-foot cyclone gate and fencing on the north side of my yard? 3, the integrity of the existing 3-foot cyclone fence would be compromised on the east side and the north side. 4, aesthetically, it would be a disaster to look at from the street and from my yard. I propose leave my fence in place and place Zagorski fence behind mine on the west side of my yard, or install and cover the cost for a matching gate and fence on my property to match the structure and frame of Zagorski's fence. This is a real issue to homeowners in this neighborhood. This is why neighborhoods are invested with a homeowners association to protect the integrity of their property. This neighborhood has had to endure enough with abusive neighbors who slip under the wire with signage and damaging language on their front lawn that we all have to look at every day. It's a shame this neighborhood isn't protected by some form of law or appointed attorney who can see that personal rights are not the only thing involved when your property is tampered with. Please do the right thing and help me to protect the appearance and function of using a proper fencing system in my yard at 974 Brooklawn. Thank you, Deborah Christie. I would like to add that Mr. Huerta did reach out to her a few times to correct that initial statement about the city does not have an attorney that particularly represents the residents. The next one will be a voicemail that I will play.
Hello, I am a homeowner across from 982 Brooklawn, the owners of which are requesting a fence height variation. I am opposed to a fence higher than 4 feet on the west side of the property. That is the property barrier parallel to Renwood. And I would not want to see a fence any higher than 4 feet on the west side of the property. This is Marion Dwight. I live at 999 Brooklawn, and I'm calling in request variance requested by the owners of 982 Brooklawn.
That concludes the public comment.
Salim, could you put the map up that shows where the addresses were?
Sure.
The resident with the fence question adjacent is actually 974, not 1216, right?
Right, 974.
Yeah, so I would like to add, Gary, that I did talk to the resident of this address, and I explained to them that there was no request for variance on the front. That was their concern. So they were fine with that. I did speak with the person on 1216. The concern that she expressed to me was just that she has a gate, and she wanted to know how the neighbor was going to make that gate work with the changes. I also wanted to make public that I explained to her several things, but apparently she confused the things I explained to her. And so she answered with a public comment that was citing me, but it's wrong. It's not what I explained to her over the phone. I just want to make that clear. I did tell her that because she wanted to be part of the meeting, that she would need to speak to the city attorney for that approval, but that she needs to speak to the owners of 982 who are requesting for the variance for the technical part of her question.
Okay. Sandy?
You're saying that 1216 has a gate as well on that side of the house? It doesn't seem right.
She says that she has a gate somewhere here, that she has concerns that once they put the new fence, her gate cannot be attached to it.
I don't know where her gate wouldn't be going into 982, would it?
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm just looking at Google Maps. I didn't realize that was an issue when I was there. I see a fence back there, but it's hard to tell if there's a gate on it. But
I'm
anyway.
looking at it, I'm not seeing it, but that's either here nor there. I will say just slightly that I wasn't lying when I said I talked to both 974 and 1216 and got their okays. So I'm a little disappointed they didn't express to me this ahead of time. That's their prerogative. Regarding 974s, I'm happy to discuss some of the options that she suggested, including, keeping her fence in place possibly. I don't know what 1216 concerns are right now, but just want to say that.
Salim? Actually, hold on, Sandy. Salim? The back corner of 982, going back to 1216, we're only granting a variance for the first 25 feet. Everything else,
Let me pull that
everything else
out.
they can do, right?
So what happens is correct. That's exactly what it is. You just mentioned
And
25 feet.
There's no variance against the neighbor on the other side. He can put a fence up there, whether we do it or not.
By right.
Okay. So any issues don't have to do with this board. We only care about like 35 feet along Wrenwood and the first 25 feet back. Or actually first 22 feet back.
So it would be around to here. Yes.
Okay. All right. Sandy, you had your hand up?
I think you were saying the same thing I was. Just to be clear, you said the neighbor on the other side. I was going to state or ask, I guess, the concern that 974 has about her gate isn't even within the realm of this variance anyway.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. That's what seemed to be true. Okay. I guess all that, can we just have general discussion? No?
Yep.
So all that said, I think the only concern I'd still raise, I'd have a similar concern as we had at the previous resident about the 6 foot height. I think certainly the setback, the fact that they currently have a 4 foot obscuring fence and the constriction on this lot, I'm pretty willing to work with you guys, or with the petitioner in terms of the location, but I would still be concerned with the 6 foot high. If that were to move back maybe to the edge of the house or beyond the edge of the house where there's obviously a wall that is more than 6 foot high or something, that maybe could become more appealing. But in general, totally understand the concern and the conditions of the lot. Just the 6 foot high would still be offensive, I guess. So that's my commentary.
So Sandy, if I'm not mistaken, the house is only 3 feet off the lot line. So you say go straight back with the house.
Yeah, right. Whatever that is. I mean, like I said, he got a very small lot, as we talked about, and you already have a visual or a wall barrier of the house itself. So we're not, we are extending that, but we're not introducing a new obstructionable barrier into the environment or something. It's just extending it. So whatever. I still love it, but it's starting to get more amenable. I would much rather see the 4 foot height maintained of what's there.
Salim,
Yes.
On that picture you have there right now, how long is the fence from the back of the house to the back of the property? From there to the back?
I will need to get it. Let me get it from this other document. Hold on.
I think the plan layout shows it. The plan from the fence company shows it. One of the pictures you had back.
Yeah, but I don't trust them. A lot of times we get mistakes from contractors. So it's 35 feet about.
And how big is the house right there from where you measured there? Yeah,
This width right here
that way.
is 33 feet, 32, 33 feet about.
All right, so there's already a 33, how big, 38 feet?
The house itself, it kind of, to the furthest point is 35 feet.
Okay, so we already have a 35-foot wall, 8 or 9 feet high. That's along there. That's his house. So we'll take off from the back of his house to the back of the property line. Is that, now, Mark, my question for you is, when you say it's non-conforming, can we still grant something to a non-conforming lot?
Yeah, I mean, we're dealing with a fence ordinance and applying the standards for the variance on the fence from the fence ordinance. So yes.
Okay.
And the comment that Salim wrote saying that being the city cannot increase the nonconformity, but that would be the actual structure of the house, like expanding or something. That would, increase or reduce the amount of area of the lot by like splitting some off, which you couldn't combine, you couldn't do it. So the simple answer is no, the fence isn't increasing the nonconformity of the lot or structures.
Okay. Teresa?
Just a question for Salim. If a fence is 4 feet obscuring and they put lattice work above it, what is the lattice work considered? Does it add to the height of non-conformity?
Yeah, like when they get a permit for a fence, we tell them that they can't put lattice if it has to be non-obscuring. So once they put it in, then they're in violation. In this case, this fence is sold, there's no permit. So we don't enforce fences or issues that are older than 2 years unless there's a permit active. So in this case, it would practically be grandfathered. What they have is grandfathered.
I have a question for the petitioner there.
Yes.
I can feel your hardship for needing a 6-foot fence there. How would you feel about the last 10 feet of your property of cutting it on a 45-degree angle so it's not a square in front of your neighbor's property there on what would be 974, I think, or 999? The people behind you.
People behind me.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm not a very good visualizer, so I'm trying to figure out.
Salim, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, go ahead, Gary.
It appears to come from the back corner of the property. Come in 10 feet, or 1216, yeah, it came in 10 feet on either side there.
Hold on, from this point right here?
Yep, from that point, went 10 feet both directions and cut the corner.
Anyways.
Something like that. Yep.
So I'm saying we're kind of cutting the back fence 10 feet back.
Yeah. The back and the front, 10 feet either way, and it's cutting on a 45, so that your neighbor at 1216, as you're coming down the street, they can see their house before kind of curves into their house. Like that right there, a little triangle.
Okay, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Just as a thought. I don't know if my other board members like the idea. But I mean, I see a hardship of 3 feet off is not a problem with me.
Yeah, so okay.
Matt?
I mean, I certainly would be willing to seriously consider it, but I don't know what other members think.
All right. Matt?
I just feel like we went through the same thing on this last variance. I think that the 6 foot it's a little hard for me, and the visual of it being right up there. I know this lot is very unique. I have no problem with a 4 foot obscuring to replace what's existing, up to what they're proposing right now with a 4 foot obscuring. I think that would be satisfactory in my case. I think a 6 foot I'm not sure. I don't like that idea on that one side. I think you said that our code, or at least there is from that set point of 25 foot back, it doesn't matter. He can do a 6 foot there, right? That's on the back side of that.
Yeah, from this point right here.
Right there. Yeah. And he can do it on that one side too, correct? On the other side? Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that would be kind of odd too, is to step up. But on the other hand, I just think that's really close. I mean, it's a really weird lot for sure. I mean, being this close, I think Gary, you pointed that out. Very odd. So, I mean, again, 4 foot obscuring on this, I'd be okay with. No problem. I'm having a hard time with a 6 foot here on this corner, on this particular lot.
Okay.
It's just weird. It's just different. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
This lot is definitely is a hardship lot because
Yeah.
I mean, his house is 3 feet. His house is 3 feet. We always tell them, go from the edge of your house, follow the lot line back. And now, he can't follow his lot line back. He has to go back 23 more feet because his house sticks out. I mean, all our other requests, when you stay back 30 feet, like the last one, we suggested staying at their house and they would have no backyard. This one, we're telling them to stay at his house, and now we're telling them to go back 25 feet further than his house.
Yeah.
That's in, I know what you're talking about. We don't want to set precedents, but
Yeah.
if someone's house is 3 feet from the lot line, I don't see why their fence can't be the same distance. Just my opinion.
I like your setback, your corner thing too. I mean, that's an option too on the backside, 10 to 15 foot, diagonal, but I think it gives a little bit less invasive on the other neighboring property.
Yep. Teresa, you had something?
No, my feeling, the corner doesn't come into play on this one so much because it is set back from their driveway. I hear Gary's comment about it being, we've already got the building there, so what's the difference of adding a 6 foot fence? I've had concerns about the neighbor to the north looking out their window or with 1216 and seeing a 6 foot fence, but that is the part of the fence that's okay within the code, if I'm not mistaken. So the part where I'm so concerned is actually the allowable part. That neighbor just has to deal with what they look out their window to. It's just part of those lots.
Yeah.
That's a good point, Teresa.
Andy?
I think I've said my piece. I agree with what Matt's saying. 4 foot at basically replacing the existing 4 foot obscuring 1 foot back. Gary, I think your comment about 6 foot at the house lines with 3 foot back is better than, I think, or sorry, 5 foot back, right? That'd be 5 foot back. And then the actual request on table is 3 foot back for 6 feet. So, I mean, I like those all in reverse order there as far as the existing request and so on being, 4 foot at the existing location being the best option.
And Mark, your comment earlier was about this board helps people that have hardships.
Yeah.
Because every lot is different.
Right. I would like to say a practical difficulty as opposed to a hardship.
Okay, practical difficulty, yes.
An opportunity.
Anybody else have any comments? Well, I'm going to try it out there. See if I get any support. I'm going to.
Before you do that, Gary, can I ask the petitioner one thing?
Absolutely.
So we just kind of discussed 3 options: 4 foot in the existing location, all obscuring. 4 foot in the existing location, 6 foot at the house line, 5 foot back, and your request of 6 foot, 3 foot back. What's your general feeling about those 3 options? What would you be amenable to?
I think I'd be happy to do 6 feet at the house line, which you guys discussed, the 5 feet back. If that is an acceptable compromise for the board, I would be definitely happy to do that.
Okay.
How about what about the 45 degree angle at the end?
be happy to consider that. I don't know if I could, I want one of you to help me explain it to the contractor, but yeah.
They will understand it. The contractor would understand it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, certainly, if it's what we need to do for you all to kind of approve it and to work with your concerns, yes.
Gary, I would like to add something, please.
Yep.
Yeah, so what happens, I did get a call from both neighbors, and I do have concerns about a gate that was supposed to be somewhere there. They were not clear with that. The call was just today, so it was difficult to understand. But if we give any approval, can we please add that I would like to resolve that technical problem before I issue the permit, just to make sure that the neighbors will be okay with any resolution.
William, I understand what you're saying, but he's putting a fence on his property, and we're only granting easement where there's no gate right now. So it'd be his.
Yes, I understand. I will add to that. The thing is that what they explain is that there's an existing fence right now, a link fence, that they don't know who owns them because the subdivision is so old that they lost track of who owns it. So there's some shared ownership there.
To the petitioner, do you know of the gate that the neighbor's talking about?
I believe they're talking about the gate at the back of 12-1, or between our house and 12-1-6. Is that correct, Salim? Or is it?
Yeah, this is the person that mentioned the gate is the one on 12-16.
Yes, I'm still not sure what gate we share. We don't, but I mean, I know that it's true because I assumed it was their fence because I understand that the law in this area is usually when the indoors faces towards the property, it is typically their fence. But when I talked to them, they said, we don't really know because like you said, it's been so long. We were not planning on replacing that fence because we assumed it was theirs. So.
Okay, if he stays there, I'm okay with it. I have no issues with it.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments?
Yeah, Gary, is the petitioner going to consider hiring a surveyor to mark his property lines if people don't know where their property? I mean, Gary, you get what I'm saying. The only way you can really tell if they find the corners and flag them so you know what you're dealing with.
Yes. I mean, is that something we can require someone to do before they put a fence up? Is that a requirement you have, Salim, in the building department?
Yes, it is. It's part of the Michigan Building Code, Chapter 1, that a survey must be done for any structure. A fence is considered a structure for me.
All right, so that's already in, so we don't have to put that into anything we do.
That would be.
And if I would like to comment a little more, then I've experienced in my life and career with considerable amount of people who do work on their land without identifying where their property lines are. No one wants to pay for the surveyor. The surveyor has a license that gives him a unique authority on to identify where property lines are. In fact, he can trespass legally to make that assertion.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to warn the petitioner that you better make sure you're putting your fence on your property. And the best way to figure that out is to hire a surveyor to mark your property corners so you can understand where your property lines are.
Thank you. We'll definitely take a very serious look at that and search around for some surveyors.
Okay. Anybody else have any comment? I'm going to put together a resolution resolved that the variance request for Gregory Zagorski at 982 Brooklawn is approved based on the petitioner has a hardship or practical difficulty resulting from the unusual characteristics of the property that precludes reasonable use of the property to install a 6-foot fence in line with the house to the rear of the property with a 10-foot angle in the back corner. Did I miss anything, anybody?
Obscuring.
6-foot obscuring fence.
I need a quick Robert's Rules question, Mark. If,
Yep.
How do I ask this question, I guess? I don't think the 10 foot is required. Is there a way to amend or otherwise make the, like, how
I can
how
take
that
it out.
procedurally be done?
I can take it out.
Well, if you're asking the question that you could have a condition as part of your variance approval, and the condition is that you angle the fence, and Gary, I'm sure you would propose that for a clear zone, correct?
But no, Gary's including it in the motion. And I don't think it's necessary. I don't want to over restrict the homeowner, I guess. And so does it have to deny this motion, or?
I think Gary can amend his just amend his motion. It hasn't been seconded.
I will amend the motion to get rid of the 10-foot angle in the back corner of the fence and just keep it straight. Okay. Okay. Does anybody have any other? Kathy, can you take the vote, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Was that supported by Ms. Brooks?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Abathera,
Yes.
Ms. Brooks,
Yes.
Mr. DeZerman,
No.
Mr. Friesen,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Your motion passes. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year to you all.
And definitely look for a surveyor.
Great advice, and I appreciate it. I was kind of surprised when I got there how little people understood the lines. Thank you.
We're going to go to our last one here is the variance request by Leanne Blankenship at 5970 Sussex Drive. Salim?
Yes, Gary, I will read this. A variance request, Leanne Blankenship, 5970 Sussex Drive. The applicant seeks to construct a 126 feet long, 60-inch high chain link, non-obscuring fence and 103 feet, 72-inch high wood obscuring fence within the required 40 feet front yard setback when the maximum height limits to 30 inches.
All right, is the petitioner present?
I don't see her, Gary.
I don't see her either.
It would be Leanne Blankenship.
Who is IS?
That's IT. IT support.
IT support. Okay, and BF?
That's the broadcast feed for the YouTube and the cable feed.
She's not there then. How long should we wait? Or is there a way to call her, or? Mark, you have more experience on this than anybody.
And I'm ruthless. I say we postpone it.
I say it's an easy one. Let's go for it.
33.
What's that?
We have a phone number.
No.
I can confirm with you. I went to my sent file. I have sent correspondence as I have with the board, that the reminder, the agenda, and then we even had some additions and changes, and she was included in all those emails, and that's the form of communication that we've been using primarily. I haven't spoke with her on the phone, only email.
Can I place a motion that we just table this till next meeting?
Yeah, but Jackie, do we have anything for next month?
Let me look. I'm not aware. Hold on.
Yep.
My only thinking is we don't want to have just a special meeting for one, and we can put two together.
Yeah. I don't think there'll be too many fences going up in the winter anyway, right? The frost line. Yeah.
I do have 1525 East Maple listed down for February. Mr. Huerta, is that correct?
I have not received that one, Jackie. So I can look at it later.
Oh,
Okay.
Salim, I believe that's because that is the one in question if it's supposed to go to ZBA.
Okay,
All
Okay,
right.
so
I'll take a look
it's
at
very
it.
possible that there's nothing.
All right. So Matt, did you want to put a motion together to postpone it to the next meeting or to the
Yeah,
next?
I'll put a motion together due to the absence of the homeowner for this particular request that we postpone this till the next scheduled zoning or building board code of appeals meeting that is scheduled on whatever month that may be in the future.
We want to second that?
I'll second.
I'll second. Who seconded it?
Mark.
Kathy?
Ms. Brooks,
Yes.
Mr. Jezerman,
Yes.
Mr. Friesen,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yeah.
Mr. Abathera.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Do we have any communications this month? No. Do we have any public comment? Nope. We'll get to miscellaneous business. We have to have the election of officers for the board, which would only be the chairman of the board, I think.
Move to appoint or to request, recommend Gary.
Second.
I second.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. We have to, you put it together and someone seconded it. Kathy, you got to take the vote.
Do I put down 3 supports for that, Gary? What do you think, or 4?
Probably. Of course.
I'll try. I'll make my determination. Thank you. Mr. Jezerman,
Yes.
Mr. Friesen,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Abathera,
Yes.
Ms. Brooks.
Yes.
You're it, Gary.
Okay. I do have one more question is, can I pass off the resolution for electronic meetings to somebody else? Or am I stuck with it? Like someone like Teresa would really do a good job reading it.
I'll do it. I'm familiar with it. I'll do it the next meeting, okay?
Hey, you, Mark?
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll do it
Okay.
the next meeting.
All right. They'll give me time to get all my papers ready.
All right.
And anything else? Anyone else have any business? Okay. We're adjourned. See you guys next month or in 2 months.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Happy New Year,
Thank you.
everybody.